So what has Captain America and Black Widow been doing the past couple of years? We know the Hulk's been lost in space, and so is Thor. So what the hell have they been doing?
I have no idea.
Have they been on some kind of European vacation?
Presents Avengers Infinity War. Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum podcast. I'm Ryan from Coalsploitation.com, and I'm joined with my co-host Martin.
How's it going?
It's going okay. And
I said that like a Canadian.
It's going okay.
Co-host?
Yes, that's right. We are recording on location today. From
the cinema.
Yeah, no, yeah. I wish. No, from the great outdoors in my backyard. And we've done one episode outside before. That was way, way, way back when we did the Wes Craven retrospective.
That's right.
We haven't done it recently, basically because I hadn't had a laptop and we'd always record on my desktop Mac. But I've got a laptop now. So that allows us to go on location and record wherever we want to. Yeah. So if you hear any crickets or cars or wind or any other natural occurrence, it's probably because we're outside. We are back after a long hiatus. I really apologize for that. It's been about 4 weeks since we did our last episode. Part of that is because I've been having some renovations at my house, and I had a washer and dryer in my living room, and I had a whole shit ton of stuff in the office where we normally record, so it's not really conducive to recording a podcast or doing any work whatsoever, and it kind of makes me anxious every time I sit in an area where like it's fucking really, really messy. I can't concentrate. That's the biggest thing. It's like I feel like I can't concentrate at all if I'm scrunched into something. So
you're claustrophobic.
No, I'm not claustrophobic. I'm really not. It's just that I don't like doing work. I can't focus when I'm in like a place where I can't, spread out and do what I want. So that's why. So that's really the main reason why we haven't had an episode in a couple weeks, because I was waiting for a new washer and dryer and having renovations. But we are back today. We had to be back today because Avengers Infinity War released.
Only the biggest movie ever to come out.
Well, I mean, we couldn't miss it. We couldn't reschedule again with Infinity War on the horizon because we've done all the rest of the Marvel movies save for like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, we have done all of Phase 3 except that.
Right. And we had to finish it out. Can't go on without it. It's a big movie too, and that's why we're posting this episode earlier than normal. Normally we'd release the episode on Friday and giving like a couple days access to our listeners on our Patreon account. But because this is such a big movie, such a big release, people are going out, day one. We wanted to get this out as early as possible. And I think I should just start out right now. I posted it on the image of this episode, but I'm going to say it again right now. There are going to be fucking spoilers on this episode. There's just no possible way that we can have an entire full-length episode on the movie if we don't have any spoilers, so I'm putting that out there right now. It should be expected. Like I said, who listens to a movie podcast and you haven't seen the movie? It's a bad idea.
Yeah, if you really just want like a kind of a feel of if you should go see a movie or not, just read like a written review.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the written review says, no spoilers in this.
Well, I mean like a traditional, not like long form. I mean, like, kind of old school, like, let's say School and Ebert style.
Yeah.
Just kind of like quick, like, here's like a little bit on what this movie's about and why you should or should not go see it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you are comfortable with learning a little bit about it, because I think any review is going to have a teensy bit of like spoiler in it, because practically the entire movie is pure spoiler if you're talking about it. Then you can read a written review, but I would not recommend listening to the rest of this episode if you haven't seen it.
If you're curious, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't care, then obviously we invite you to listen. Please listen.
And if you're just joining the Marvel franchise on its 20th film, well, shame on you. Where the hell have you been? Especially now, because as we've pointed out several times before, these movies are done with it being kept in mind that it's a continuation of a story, and they're not really, if you're, like I said, if you're new to the franchise, you're going to be lost.
Well, let's start out...
Because basically this is like your modern day movie serial.
Well, let's start out by documenting what exactly do you need to see before you come into Avengers Infinity War?
I would just say most of Phase 3. That way you're at least familiar with the characters. You'll know, because, what starts with Civil War, so, you get to catch up on Captain America and Tony Stark and, as Iron Man.
Yep.
You get to find out where the hell Thor disappeared to. You get to find out where Hulk went off to. You get introduced to Spider-Man, you get introduced to Doctor Strange, you get introduced to Black Panther.
I think, if we're talking straight up like the least amount of movies that you need to see, Civil War is probably the biggest one that you need to see to understand what's going on in the universe.
That, and maybe some of I haven't seen it yet, but like Age of Ultron, because I
didn't see it either.
Just because I imagine that has something to do with one of the Infinity Stones.
It begins as far as I know, it's really going to begin the Infinity Stone search.
Well, I think in the first Captain America too, they were
yep.
I mean, a lot of these movies have certain Infinity Stone parts. That's why it's all leading up to now Thanos. But I mean, you don't really have to know the past, stuff about the. Because I watched the past films and they talk about the Tesseract Cube, and it's it's just some MacGuffin, magical MacGuffin type thing.
Yeah,
that's all I need to know. You don't really need to know exactly, its function.
Like I said, I think that Civil War will get you prepared. I think that is the if you really can only see one film before going to see Infinity Stone, I would say that's the one to do it. Now, if you really
that's what they should have called it, Avengers Infinity Stones.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that after that, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of what else do you have to see in order to really get the most out of the plot, I would say all the Captain Americas you should probably see. Just pure knowledge of Iron Man is all you really need for that. It's not really necessary to see any of the 3 Iron Man films. Guardians of the Galaxy, again, maybe just pure knowledge. You really don't need to know that much about them, although it does help later on in the film, because as we'll talk about, a lot of the Guardians are actually kind of important to this film in a manner that seems surprising, with the fact that this film is entitled Avengers and they're not really Avengers. So they do become an important role, and so it would be helpful.
In fact, the Avengers are broken up.
Yeah, it would be helpful to have seen at least probably Guardians 2 in order to really get the most out of that. And I would say, Spider-Man, not necessary. You do not need to have seen the new Spider-Man Homecoming to really understand the nuance of Spider-Man, because that's practically a...
Well, you should, because it's so good.
But you should, because it's one of the best Marvel movies that they've released.
And Marissa Tomei.
As we...
God, I want to know, what... That's the lingering question I have after watching Infinity War. What happened to Aunt May? What is Aunt May doing? Is she safe? I would be running through the streets and
without saying too much. Is she safe? Yeah, I agree. That is a lingering question that you do not get the answers to. You know what you do need to see?
I do hope at the end of the day she is. So, show her in the second film. Oh, thank God.
It's really good.
I'd be oh, thank God, you're safe.
What you do need to see though is Ant-Man. No, I'm just fucking with you. Ant-Man's not in it at all. Ant-Man's not in it. So if you're looking for Paul Rudd, and I'm looking in all the scenes, see the background?
He as we talked about when we reviewed Civil War, he stole the show just by wow, I didn't even expect to be here. Wow, woo.
Yeah.
Great. Captain America. Whew, what am I,
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
But
He's unfortunately not in it.
But no, they decided just to have Mark Ruffalo also play Paul Rudd.
A Paul Rudd character. Yeah. You do probably need to see. I would say it would be helpful to have seen the first 2 Avengers films. That way, you at least have some connection to the members. And then you don't need to have seen Black Panther. I guess it would be helpful because
That's
we do
at this point.
we do get a bit of Wakanda in here, so it would be helpful. But not necessary. Because you can get all of that contextually.
I still find it funny that Black Panther's still in theaters and you got another Marvel movie like, whoop!
I know, yeah. Very, very soon after.
I know. Like I said, Black Panther's still in theaters.
Yeah. And actually, people were... I mean, they pushed this up, too. They pushed Infinity War, its release date, up. So they were, like, hoping, like, well, let's just roll it all in. Let's just, Black Panther's doing so well, let's just do Infinity War as well.
Well, I imagine at this point, as successful as Infinity War has already been financially, I can already see it, like, they planned on releasing it early, so it can be in theaters all fucking summer.
I would say so.
Just like imagine like how Disney's probably just like all we had to do is make Infinity War, this goddamn Han Solo movie, Black Panther, and we just leave them in theaters for 4 months, and we'll be
That's it. That's all you need to do. Game plan.
They're literally just like sitting around the corporate office at Disney like we're in the money, we're in the money.
I saw a pretty funny meme today, and do you watch Rick and Morty at all?
No, I still have it, but I do know the jokes.
There's an episode of Rick and Morty where Morty's father kind of becomes like a clone, and he like meets himself a lot. And there's a meme of like 4 of him getting together, and it says like Disney Star Wars congratulating Disney Marvel on their success with Infinity War. It's pretty funny.
I mean, it's true.
It is true. What else what did we touch on for Marvel movies that you need to see before you see Infinity War?
Like I said,
I think that's it.
I mean, we're not really in a place to say because, like I said, I've only seen Phase 3. Phase 3 as it's technically called.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention Thor. I don't think it's necessary.
Ragnarok?
No, I meant like the first 2 Thors.
Let's say Ragnarok definitely is.
The first 2 Thors not necessary. Ragnarok, yes.
Just because it's got Jeff Goldblum.
The only reason why it's vital, Jeff Goldblum. But yeah, I think like you're gonna get the most mileage out of it if you've been following all along, because there are a lot of callbacks. Too many to count of callbacks that occur. I'm sure one of your local comic book blogs will do that, but we're not going to do it here because I admit I'm not as well versed in Marvel as, for one, I'd like to be, but for 2, that I could actually do that sort of thing. I don't know the comics very well. And I've seen the movies like 1 time, but I'm not like a serial rewatcher. I'm not like, I gotta watch Thor 2 again. But, so we're not going to be the podcast to do that, but I'm sure somebody will break down all the callbacks. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? Doctor Strange.
I'd say
it is an elective. You can or you don't have to. It would be helpful if you did, but if you didn't, you could get away with it and just... Because in some ways, Doctor Strange, his progression from the movie Doctor Strange to where he is now in the universe is so vast that you really almost don't need to see Doctor Strange. Like, we didn't see any of that progression.
Yeah, because he goes, from... because his movie's an origin story as well. And, he goes from, neurosurgeon, crippled, and then he, learns the mystic arts. And then by the end of the movie, he's technically Sorcerer Supreme, but he's still kind of a pretty shitty sorcerer. Now, by this film, he's literally Sorcerer Supreme.
True.
And it's like...
Yeah.
So what's the time gap between, all these,
Yeah, and that said, Spider-Man's basically the same Spider-Man from Spider-Man Homecoming. Really hasn't changed all that much. So... interesting to see the progression for each of the characters and sometimes the non-progression. All right, let's take a break real quick before we really get into the meat of Infinity War, because I think this is going to be one of our longer episodes. Generally, our superhero episodes are, because there's a lot to unpack, but in Infinity War, there's a lot to unpack.
It's 3 hours long.
It's nearly 3 hours long, so there's a lot to unpack. So let's take a break, and let's talk about the beer that we have on hand today. Yes, we did bring beer out to our picnic table, because what's a picnic without beer?
A shitty picnic.
And I would say that we only, in definition, have beer today. Because what we have is really more like a malt beverage.
A wine cooler.
A wine cooler, yes. As you may have heard, the 90s popular beverage, the clubbing of choice beverage, Zima, is back in stores.
Once again for the summer.
Yep. They did it last year, right, for the summer?
Mm-hmm.
Real quick.
And they got sold out
real fast. Quick. And did you get one last year?
No, I remember I told you, we talked about it. I said,
yeah.
I saw a 6-pack of it. Like, they brought Zima back? Oh, I gotta fucking try that. And then by the time I went to go get it, like a couple days later, gone. And that was because they only got shipped a certain amount of cases, and that's all they were getting all year.
Yeah. And then, so...
And people, like, the retailers were saying, people were buying them by the case. Like, they'd come in, buy 3 cases of Zima. I'll buy, so...
It's ridiculous. Because we've tried it today, and we're here to tell you that it's not that great.
Of course, you can put it back. Put it back in the vault. It does taste like the 90s, though.
Do you think that this probably happened with some of the people from last year's Zima, and that's why it's more readily available, is that people bought it up, remembering that 90s flavored nostalgia of Zima.
Or curiosity like us.
Or curiosity.
It's something that I knew about from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like,
Obviously, we were not old enough to drink that in the 90s. But,
My mom was. And she did.
Do you think that people just kind of had rose-colored glasses and they rushed out to buy it, and then they're like, what the fuck is this? We've advanced. We have Mike's Hard Backyard Brew. We don't need Zima.
You know what? I can almost guarantee, like, a Mike's Hard would be a million times better than this.
I go bowling on Thursday nights, and a surprising number of people, bowlers in that league, are drinking Mike's Hard iced tea.
I know a lot of people like Twisted Tea.
Twisted Tea. Twisted Tea, yeah. They're drinking that on a regular basis, and I'm like, as like a beverage that you go out and drink? No, thank you. That would not be me. I'm not shaming anybody who does that. I'm just saying
you would be offended if you went to a bar like, we have like Mike's Hard or like a Twisted Tea to drink, and you'd be like,
I probably would say no to that. But I'm not saying I'm not saying that anybody should be wrong about their choice. I'm just saying to me that seems like an odd choice. It's out there, but more power to you. You like iced tea and you like it hard, and you get Mike's Hard.
You mean Twisted Tea?
Whatever the fuck they call it, I don't know. See, I don't drink it. Does Mike's Hard make Twisted Tea?
I don't think they have a tea variety. No. It's maybe like the Mike's Hard Lemonade, Limeade, stuff like that.
So I don't know. But whatever the thing is called, it's not for me.
Well, this isn't even like that though. It's not like this isn't even like a Mike's Hard Lemonade or a Twisted Tea. It's literally a refreshing citrus beverage. I gotta tell you, I do not get any goddamn citrus from this at all. It literally tastes like I'm drinking cough syrup that's grapey with a tinge of alcohol.
It does have a little bit of a cough syrup or like a Caro syrup consistency to it.
And it's really
it's like a thicker drink.
It feels very viscous. Like you're literally drinking pure sugar. Like it's been like wetted down, like how it gets all like lumpy. And that's what this like tastes and feels like. This, unlike Crystal Pepsi, though I don't drink soda anymore. Unlike Crystal Pepsi, this does not belong to be back. Unlike Surge, another great 90s soda, this does not belong to be back. This should have stayed right back in the 90s where it belonged and never darken our door again.
I mean, it's nice to try it for sure. I don't see the appeal that much.
I get to say I had Zima, but other than that...
Now, we're not one, I don't know, is this the original recipe? Did they change the recipe and now people are really, upset? I really don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. But I gotta say that I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a fan of.
I do like that it has grips and
it does have a very grippy. So like,
it's very like early 90s.
There's
like
no
that.
excuse if you're dropping the spear.
No, there isn't.
It's like are you slippery in the club? Well, guess what? We have grips. We have grips, so no dropping this because you would deserve to get shamed if you're in the club. You're sweaty. We understand that. You've been bumping to Chumbawamba. Tub Thumper.
I was thinking more like De La Soul.
Or yeah.
Groove is in the heart. No, because it's literally the case and everything. Makes you feel like you're back at 93.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome. And especially, you can, like, just the way that grip design is on the bottle, it totally looks like it came out like 92, 93. It's amazing. The Bills were going to the Super Bowl. Everything,
Yeah, there's definitely no excuse if Becky drops this bottle.
Becky would drink it.
Yeah.
I guarantee a nice young Alicia Silverstone was drinking a lot of these coming off of Clueless.
Probably in The Babysitter or something. But
see, that's a nice early 90s callback right there. Alicia Silverstone. What happened to her? She disappeared after her Brace Face cartoon.
I don't know. This Zima is not... I mean, it's fine. I can drink it. I'm not really a fan of any of these types of beverages, though.
I'm not either.
I don't really love wine coolers. I used to when I was like 9 years old.
Do they even really still make wine coolers?
Bartles and James, that's like their staple. That's all they make.
No, I know that, but like I haven't seen that in like 20 years.
Ask
like,
my mom,
90s.
She has a bunch. Yeah, my sister and my mom drink a bunch of wine coolers.
Like, it's all like that, not your father's, like, root beer, soda.
Yeah, that's big, too. But, yeah, wine coolers are still pretty big. Popular at 4th of Julys and...
I don't see them. I don't ever see them. I don't count, like, those...
Well, that's because you have relatives that are hard-drinking Bush fans, so... Mine are slightly more classy, and they drink wine coolers.
I don't think anyone in my family drinks Bush.
I just made that up, but...
No, I don't think anyone does.
Whatever, Coors.
My uncle drinks Jenny.
Oh, Jenny.
Okay. Just straight Jenny.
Straight Jenny.
Not cream ale. Gives you the poops. It's a myth.
I don't know. I would not rank the Zima highly. It's fine.
I would never.
And it's 5%. At least give me like 8%, because then I don't have to drink like 6 of these really sweet, sugary drinks.
What's the word we are looking for to describe this?
I don't find it as cloying as I do just like very sweet, like puckery sweet, like I just had a candy bar and my cavity's hurting or something. But I don't know. The other thing that I've got on the show today, which Martin was kind enough to bring me, that seems to be just as rare as Zima from last year, is Jenny's Ruby Red Kolsch, which is a new, not a brew house beer, right? They're not considering this a brew house beer, but it's just a special edition that's in the vein of like how they did their Oktoberfest.
It's going to be their new summer season, because they haven't had a summer seasonal before. It used to just be the Spring Bock until 2 years ago when they started doing the Oktoberfest for the fall, and now they're going to have a summer one, their Ruby Red Kolsch, which I'm assuming probably by this winter, they'll probably have a winter special now.
I hope so. Besides that winter warmer.
Well, that's a brew.
Too raisiny.
Throw that in the garbage. They didn't bother this year with that. They just like, we'll keep this at the actual brew house and see if anybody wants it.
But this Jenny Ruby Red Kolsch, if this becomes a summer staple, it's amazing.
That's what they plan on.
It is light. It is drinkable. It's 4.5%, so this is one that you session.
I have bought, I think, 3 12-packs in 2 weeks. I go through them, literally, like, within 3 days, it's already gone, because I drink like 4 in a rip. Because it's really good. It's delightful.
The one thing I don't know about is the calories.
I imagine they're back.
Probably high.
Well, it really is delightful. It's got a nice grapefruit taste, but it's not too strong, but it's not subtle either. It's nice. It's very crisp. It's refreshing.
It's got a man in a boating uniform.
I know the can is delightful. Uniform. It's a bright yellow can with like grapefruits on it, and a sea captain with like holding a grapefruit. It looks like a dodgeball and a pipe.
Yeah, it's a fucking massive grapefruit.
But I mean, it's absolutely delightful. Problem is, there's only 2 stores around here that carry it, but they only get like 2 cases.
They're constantly sold out.
They get 2 cases like a week, so I buy like 1, and then I go back for another one, and it's already out. And like, oh, you gotta wait till next week. If I go in like sometime this week to get another 12-pack, and they're out, I'm like, you order a whole fucking stack of them. Trust me, I will be here. Coming here all summer long to get this beer.
This man will buy them all.
Don't worry, I got a truck out. You know, I'll have my friend bring his pickup around. We'll load that bed full. Don't worry. This is my summer beer. This is hands down summer beer choice.
It's great. Now you have a summer beer. You got a spring beer because you love the Bach, and you like it.
It's kind of wavered on me now because I didn't really buy it that much. I only bought it once this year, and I was like, eh.
And then you definitely got a fall beer, because that Oktoberfest is delightful.
And, yeah, well, Oktoberfest are delightful.
In general, yeah.
If even Magic Hat can make a good Oktoberfest, then...
True. That's the only thing good they make, so... All right. So, shall we get into Infinity War?
I guess so.
All right, so, talking Infinity War, and it's hard to figure out where to actually begin with this. Where do we begin with this? How do we begin broaching the subject of this massive, long-awaited sequel to the Avengers films, and also pretty much the end of Phase 3, tying all of the loose ends together of what really Marvel's been working on for the past, 10 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Because they added that Marvel 10 to the logo at the beginning of the film. It's really hard to figure out where to start with this.
I can.
Go ahead.
Picks right up after Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it really does, yeah.
After the destruction of Asgard, and Thor taking the Asgardians on a little spaceship to find a new home, they get put under attack. They're under attack by Thanos.
Yeah.
And some Mass Effect looking fucker. That's what is that one henchman that's skinny and whatnot, and like,
yeah,
his voice sounds so familiar, I can't put my fucking finger on who.
I actually thought he was a really that added more to it than just like having just Thanos, because you like one movie, or having like the one villain but also the very powerful. I think that's a really good. They did a really good job of making sure that he's obviously not stronger than Thanos. He's obviously just there helping him out, but also very
seems like basically it's the cult of Thanos, because you know he's your lord that's gonna spare you and bring you mercy and forgiveness. Out the glory of Thanos, very religious in tone. But it basically picks up right after Ragnarok, and Thor's ship's under attack, and it's entirely slaughtered. Thanos and his cronies have gone in and slaughtered the entire ship looking for one of the Infinity Stones, and is beating the shit out of Thor and Loki to try to find the Infinity Stone that was on Asgard.
It's a powerful moment, because right away we know that some of these heroes are not going to make it out of this alive, right?
Well, not only that, you're in deep shit. Like I said, when the strongest of the Avengers basically got his ass. Well, both the strongest. Hulk's on that ship too, and they both easily get their ass beaten in by Thanos. So basically after that, and like, oh well, he's not to be trifled with. Josh Brolin's a mean motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely. It's really a compelling moment because of how quickly it all occurs. Like, it really throws you into this exciting, action-packed moment where, and I don't want to,
Just say it.
I already
Spoil it.
said spoilers. So, and where Loki's killed. And it's a very intriguing moment because I didn't really expect for a death to occur that soon within the film. It's like minutes into the film. And
well, they also kill Thor's friend, is Heim.
You know, with 2 hours and 40 minutes to work with, putting one of your higher level deaths at the real beginning of the film, that's impressive to me.
Yeah, but as Thor said earlier on, yes, later on, my brother's dead, but he's been dead before.
Right.
He's coming back. Christopher Hiddleston, has no other money.
Tom,
my bad.
Tom Hiddleston.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It is definitely possible that he's coming back. And as we'll talk about in this film, it's possible that nearly everybody could be coming back.
Can we get a Dragon Ball Z style? Like,
yeah,
they're gonna end up on Namek.
Let's talk about that in a little bit because we'll save that for a little bit where we get into it in detail.
That whole part though I find kind of funny because all of Asgard's been wiped out by Thanos on that ship, but it's Heimdall's death that Thor's like, you're gonna pay for it. It's like, well, you're king of all the Asgardians, and you were just kind of upset, but now you're really upset because your friend died. Shouldn't you be, just as pissed off that you failed your entire people? There's no more Asgard. Not only has your planet been wiped out, but now all your people.
Yeah. So that should be really the main crux of your.
Anthony Hopkins now
position.
is like, like the friend, your best friend dying adds that extra weight, but even still, he's like, then like when Heimdall, he's like, now I'm really kind of sad.
Yeah, it's a good moment, but I think too that. As you said, the Avengers are kind of separated.
Well, they have been.
But I mean, literally in the film itself,
from a much more popular review site than us, Red Letter Media brought up a good point. What they were talking about on their Half in the Bag episode, which I would recommend watching because they are really good film critiques. Is fucking huge.
It's one of the most. It's the biggest one that I can.
There's
think
like 40 principal fucking characters in this film.
Yeah, it's a huge film for sure.
To make that work, you have to do what this film did: have a bunch of B stories. So everyone has to be separated until basically the climax, where even and you can kind of conglomerate them a little bit, but you can't have them all together throughout the entire film.
Can you imagine just constantly like the cameraman trying to keep up with no, you're supposed to be on Chris Hemsworth right now. No, I'm at Chris Pratt's. Fucking Chris's.
What about Chris Pine? No, he was in Wonder.
I know.
But no. So and they brought up a good point when they said that. Like, this movie feels like a bunch of B plots, but one that makes sense because you have to do it to break the cast up. And not only that, these films, unless it's one of the origin story movies, they don't really have to follow a typical 3-act narrative.
No.
Because it's all, like I said, it's a modern day movie serial. It's just every film has been slowly built. Again, this is the 20th fucking film in the franchise.
Yeah. And part of that too is the great planning that has been going on behind the scenes at Marvel since they really, I guess I would say probably since the first Avengers. Maybe not Iron Man per se. Because that was like
I don't think
in his fledgling.
No, I think after they kind of mapped out how they wanted to get to Avengers, and then once they kind of got to Avengers, like, oh shit, and then they probably thought now, like, okay,
but it's been ongoing since then, and that's a long time. But not only that, it also was a lot of hard work making sure that all of the individual character stories, the audience members to really feel for those characters, get a handle on them, because Infinity War really had. Well, let's grow their character a little bit this time. The only time that the characters have growth or out of place if we didn't know that character specifically.
I really think out of this film, there's the only really growth you see from Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and I think that's intentional because
which they're basically the same person, but the different side of the coin. One's the technical, because they're both rich assholes, with drinking problems, but one's a sorcerer and one happens to be, design super weapons.
Yeah, I think that's intentional. Like, you can't, this film at 2 hours and 40 minutes already, you're not going to have time to just take a step back and be like, well, let's have like a touching moment between two characters. It doesn't happen. And in this film, there's no time for it. Every scene is pretty much practically an important element of the film moving forward with a lot of action in it. And there's just no time to take that step back. And it's important that it's been done in the past.
Vision and Scarlet Witch want to have their moment. Tough shit, you don't get it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you get a really quick moment of it to set up later. Was very highly reviewed.
By a great time, we mean we still liked it, but compared to the other...
Intrigue as much as some of the other Marvel movies. So, it was still good. It was still on the higher end of the superhero movies, but just not as well done for us. But if we didn't have that 2.5 hour Black Panther movie where we learn all about Black Panther, or if we didn't have that, those couple of movies with Thor or Captain America, then you just would be missing out on a lot of the elements that make Infinity War work. It was really important to have those single moments. And then you take a look at something like DC, who has tried to skip away from trying to do things like have single lead up movies, and instead they just want to cram everybody into one movie, and then you end up coming out like, well, we didn't really know much about that character in the first place.
Like Justice League.
Yeah, like Justice League.
Who's Aquaman? Who's the Flag? They should have done shouldn't have fucking done Suicide Squad first, assholes.
Yeah, right, exactly. So you had no idea. Not that you didn't know about the character, because if you have any contextual,
American pop culture
knowledge about the characters, then yeah, you know about them. But in the film's world, you have never seen them before. So to throw them into a mashup movie is really just jumping the gun a little bit. So I think that
the execs at Warner Brothers sat and watched Infinity War and we've been fucked again. Fix this shit.
Back to this Marvel movie, though. I think that a lot, like we were saying, a lot of lead up has gone into this. There's no doubt about that. Infinity War has been a long time coming, and it shows that they have put in the time and the effort to make sure that those elements that were coming to fruition in Infinity War were there from the start. That when you look back now, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense why we needed to see that, why this was, a part of it. So when we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, Volumes 1 and 2, taking all that element from Guardians of the Galaxy,
which I haven't seen.
So which you haven't seen, which I can run with, though. But James Gunn's films are solid in their own right. They are really detached mostly from the rest of the Marvel universe, from the Avengers universe. Obviously, they're in space. They're not really, gavorting around with the other Avengers on Earth. They don't even know who they are. Yeah. And so you have to take that element and you have to somehow figure out, well, how can we combine them? What can we do? And so it's an ingenious move that they make. First of all, they make them fight each other, for one thing. So in this film, they ended up fighting some of the Avengers rather than, they think that, again, they're working with Thanos or something. And then also, we have the whole element with Thanos being the stepfather of Gamora, who then becomes sort of like a tragic heroine in this film.
No, she's not tragic. She's a fucking idiot.
Well,
that whole scene where they're on the planet with the Collector looking for the Soul Stone, it's like, how stupid are you? She deserved the fate she got. She earned her death. She deserved to die after how stupid she was.
Those are harsh words. No. Yeah, no, I'm just saying that it is, it's intriguing, though, that they were able to pull Guardians of the Galaxy in such a way to make it resonate with those members of, Marvel too.
All I know is after watching this, I do want to see Guardians, but I hate Chris Pratt.
Really?
Not as an actor or a person. I don't like his character.
Well,
I know he's supposed to be that, smarmy, cocksure, like, asshole, like a Han Solo. Yeah. But it's not charming, though. I don't find him to be charming. I find
maybe that came off in the heat of the moment in Infinity War, because like I said, there's not a lot of downbeat moments. Everything happens like during an action scene, during an event, so he doesn't have a whole lot of time to just be like regular Peter Quill. So maybe if you saw the other two Guardians of the Galaxy and you saw his life story, you might have some more sympathy for him.
And I'm upset again. Once again, I see another movie with Dave Bautista, and I don't see him fucking Bautista bomb somebody.
He does not get a chance to in this.
How hard? Like, why can't you tell Big Dave to give somebody a power bomb?
Well, he's surprisingly emotional as a big burly man in this. No,
I like the team. I mean, I don't really care for Gamora either, because like I said, she's retarded. And just like like I said, the whole scene, it's like. Thanos, like, I kind of want to, like, shift gears, but we'll get back to where we talk, because I think that this is a really interesting topic. I will say, I think Thanos is one of the most compelling villains in, like, the past 20 years of cinema.
He's definitely a compelling character, because he's not one of those villains.
And this is the first film, like, he's actually the focal point. Yeah, right. We've seen, like, end credit scenes of, like, Thanos talking, like, oh, Thanos is coming and all that, so it's like, ooh, big, scary villain. But what makes him so compelling is that what he feels he needs to do is righteous.
Yep.
Needs to be done.
He doesn't even really want to do it.
But not only that, the fact that they, they're basically, though he's not technically human, but we'd call, like, they're... He's sympathetic as a character.
Yeah.
Like with Killmonger and Black Panther, like, he's not like, he's the devil and you should hate him. Yeah. He's got sympathetic elements to him that,
he wants what's right, and he is willing, whereas some other people aren't, to go the distance.
With the Infinity Gauntlet, with all the Infinity Stones, he can wipe out everything, all reality, everything. But all he wants to do is wipe out half of life to bring balance back to the universe, because he's seen what overpopulation and, how that can destroy worlds and lead to their downfall. And like I said, and he's not even, like, picking, like, you need to die, it's random. Like, he's literally, like, with random choice,
Right, because he doesn't even have any control over it. He doesn't, oversee it.
No, he does, but at this, like, he's not specifically targeting certain people.
He's not selecting a name.
Or, like, a certain race.
Delete.
Or a certain, it's not like light with, the Death Note, like, you're gonna die, Yeah. It's literally, like, just half the people, half of every living thing in the universe has to go. I'm not saying that's right. It's genocide. It's not right.
It's not right, but it does force you to have to take a look at it and be like, does he have something going on there?
I'm not. Like I said, I'm not saying that either. But I don't think what he's arguing for to do is right or smart to do. But like I said, I think the way Josh Brolin portrays him, and like the background, the backstory they give him, like I said, like you can feel for him. That's why with like throughout history with like people that we consider monsters like Hitler and Stalin, you don't want to know like certain aspects. You don't want to know Hitler liked German Shepherds and loved his German Shepherd Blondie. You don't want to know that shit because it's like, oh no, he's a terrible person. Right. You don't want to know those things. You don't want or that he was one of the first people to advocate people not to smoke because it was a terrible habit and a waste of money. You don't want to know those types of things because it's like, on some I can relate to this asshole. You don't want that.
There's absolutely...
That's why we dehumanize, bad people like that, because you don't want to be like, oh, he did all these terrible things, but hey, he's a Yankee fan.
There's definitely a humanizing element to Thanos that does make it sort of uncomfortable, because you do have those elements where it's like, well, he has a point. I mean, humans are kind of shitty. People have done some bad things.
Well, it's not like I said.
It's not even just
it's humans. It's
everybody
sentient race.
But it's just like that does make you question, what his role is, and if it's, I guess if it's right or wrong in his eyes, there is no moral compass to that. It's just that this is what needs to be done to further, to
let existence.
Yeah,
continue.
exactly. Instead of rushing towards extinction, he does what needs to be done, and they do show. I mean, they show Thanos has remorse for this. He does feel sometimes guilty, sometimes remorseful and upset that he has to make this decision. And that, I think, resonates as a villain where a lot of others don't. If you think back to like Batman v Superman, what does that villain have in terms of like
Lex or Doomsday?
Doomsday. What does Doomsday have as a big baddie that makes him like somewhat sympathetic or empathetic to?
Well, he's not even really the big
the
baddie
audience.
though. It's Lex. Lex just creates Doomsday.
I guess so.
Still,
I mean,
like,
I would say Doomsday is probably bigger than Lex because Lex is always going to be around, but
as
a villain.
Well, I mean, Doomsday is bigger because he kills Superman, but
Yeah.
it's technically Lex kills Superman because he's the one who creates Doomsday. Because he puts Zod's DNA into the kryptonite goo pool of shit or whatever.
Yeah.
But even still, like at the end of the day, it was like, what's Lex's great plan? Well, he's just batshit crazy, and he, thinks Superman's, because they have the whole God motif through there, and Christ, Superman's God and Christ, ooh, and he's like, he's the fallen angel, and I'm gonna stop him, I'm like a Mickey Mouse impression.
Yeah,
but.
I think what's telling too is that ultimately they could have named Infinity War Thanos as like Thanos's movie, and it wouldn't have really made a difference. I mean, it still would have been.
Well, I think it's named after the comic series, the comic of Infinity War.
No, I know. I'm saying that like as a sort of. We've had all these backstories and we've had all these like creation stories for the other characters, superhero characters. Well, this film could have just been named Thanos, and it would have been fine. You could have named.
You didn't have to name, like you said. You're right, because you didn't have to name Avengers, because the Avengers aren't even fucking together.
Well, because it's basically what it is it's basically Thanos' story. I mean, for all the things that we see, all the action set pieces that we see between all of the Avengers who are split up in different parts of the universe. It's really Thanos who pulls them all together. He's the central conceit here. And you could have this could have been just a Thanos origin story, and that's it works that way because it does so well exploring Thanos as a character.
I'm perplexed though how he's said for years he's been looking for the Infinity Stones. It's like literally overnight he finds all of them. Found them.
Well, he's been doing a lot of research and planning. That's all. And procrastinating.
Granted, what they should have done is gone with like a Christian motif, Judeo-Christian motif, and have him find them in 7 days, basically. So it's like, on the first day I found the Soul Stone. On the second day I found, the Time Stone. Third day,
Well, actually, our heroes practically give them all to him. So.
Well, because they're stupid.
Yeah. So I mean,
throughout the entire franchise, they've been like, "Oh, this thing's all powerful and stuff. I'm gonna fucking put it in a robot."
Yeah, probably a bad idea of Tony Stark's. Vision, but other than that, but like our heroes do in some ways facilitate him getting those stones because, as we see, like they go to fight him, they have the stone in their possession at the time, and obviously he overpowers them and takes it. So,
well, not only that, after Civil War, they've all been pissy, basically. A bunch of emo kids, like Tony's like, "Hey, have you talked to Steve and Black Widow? Because we argued over Civil War," which I still think Civil War, though. I like the movie and all. I think the idea is like stupid. Like, sign up for the government registry or,
Yeah.
Which I find like, no, you don't. You're superheroes. If you don't fucking feel like, because I guess it's racist is the same question that Batman v Superman does. Like, Superman's all powerful. How do you kind of control him? Because he's basically God, even though the superheroes basically in the Marvel films aren't godlike except Thor. It's more like, none of them had to, be like, oh, why should I, listen to this crap? But, they kind of shoehorn in like a event that happens where like, oh, we gotta be reined in. You think somebody's smart enough, like maybe the Avengers or Justice League should be like independent from governments and stuff so they can do what needs to be done.
Get it done. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
So let's talk about all the different Avengers and what the fuck they've been up to. We've already covered Thor and Hulk. They were floating in space after Ragnarok.
Yep.
And Loki. They're dead. Well, Loki's dead.
Yeah.
Thor and Hulk Hulk gets launched to Earth through Heimdall's magic.
And actually, Hulk can't be the Hulk.
Yeah, no, he's just Bruce Banner.
He's Bruce Banner for now.
Throughout
the whole movie, actually, he's not Hulk.
That's enjoyable, though. I do kind of like Mark. I
like having Mark Ruffalo as just Mark Ruffalo and not.
Well, you mean Paul Rudd?
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo can't
interchangeable.
Can't really act. I'm not a big Mark Ruffalo fan, but like I do like how he's like wow, woo, woo, oh god, throughout the entire film. Tony Stark, he's been fucking dicking around doing nothing.
Apparently.
Hanging out with Gwyneth Paltrow. Wow, you're better than that, Robert Downey. You don't need to, deal with her shit.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I know. Doctor Strange gets one movie, shows up for a little bit in Ragnarok to, try to find Odin. And, that's all he gets. And now, it's like, what's he been doing? Oh, him and his, sidekick have been arguing how to pay for Chinese food.
Yeah.
Which again, it's kind of like, you mean to tell me you're Sorcerer Supreme and you don't know anything about the Avengers? Wouldn't you want to, the Avengers,
True.
Like Captain America and all that. Maybe I should, help team up with them or whatever. And he's just like, no, I'm just kind of going to sit I'm going to just be by myself. In my pad, in downtown Manhattan.
What has he been doing then?
I mean, again,
guarding.
Because he's, he deals in the mystic arts and magic stuff, so it's not stuff that the Avengers have really dealt with. But at the same time, you think you kind of want to be like, hey, just so you know, this kind of shit's going on. Because again, he can't be oblivious to the fact they're all stationed in New York City.
Yeah.
Well,
you got Spider-Man who's just going to school.
I know, isn't that funny too? It's like, oh, you're local. So what's he just like in downtown Bronx the entire time, just like, protecting Aunt May,
going to school.
Yep,
that's it.
From Michael Keaton.
What else we got? We got Scarlet Witch, who's been cavorting with Vision, just hanging out in Scotland.
Fucking you asked me Elizabeth Olsen or ScarJo.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea Elizabeth Olsen was 29. She looks like she's 40.
Yeah.
Good Lord, I felt terrible after I looked that up the other day.
I think she's pretty hot still.
I mean, maybe she is in real life, but I don't think in these films she looks all that attractive. Doesn't do anything for me.
I don't know. I do.
Maybe I'm just an old man. All team Aunt May. I mean, also team ScarJo, but the fact she has blonde hair now, that makes me sad.
Why does that make you sad?
I mean, I know it's her natural hair color, but I mean, Black Widow's supposed to have red hair.
True.
Vibrant red hair.
True.
Now it's gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what's Black Widow been up to? Nothing.
Just cavorting with Captain America.
Yeah, hanging out.
Her
cross country.
Her Captain America and what's his name? Guy with the bird wings.
Hawkeye?
No, he's the bow guy. That's not even in the fucking film. Because they ask where he's been, and ScarJo just throws off after Civil War he's been fucking hiding around here.
I don't know.
So that's a good question. It's kind of where the fuck has he been? He's probably hanging out with Ant-Man. I'm just supposed to sit out. Yeah. I didn't get a film. Everyone else gets a film except me and Black Widow.
Black Panther's been defending Wakanda. Guess that's it.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a part until down the stretch.
Yeah, really, and I would say that his role is very minimal in this film whatsoever.
Well, and this is another point again. Like I said, Red Letter Media brought up. They probably did not expect Black Panther to be as successful as as it was because what his fate in this film is and how long he's basically in the film.
Yeah, there's really not that much. I mean, he leads the charge in Wakanda as these alien creatures are attacking, but other than that, he's nowhere to be found, and he really only gets I don't know, what is it, 15 minutes? Something like that, 15 minutes, and that's it. And it is. Does he even don his Black Panther outfit?
Yes.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, that's right. Yeah, because during the fight scene, he has it on, and I forgot about that. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, Black Panther's pretty much missing from this film as well. I mean, he gets a little bit of time, more than Ant-Man, but nothing else.
We routinely check in with the Guardians, see what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say that I
Captain's barely in the. Yeah, like I said, Captain America and Black Widow.
The only thing they really get out of that is, and part of it I feel like too is that they're just so stretched. They're so stretched between each person within the film that it's. I guess maybe to us now, looking back on it, it seems like they're in it for so little time. But really, like, stretching between all of the plots, I guess it makes sense that they're, devoted like 30 minutes. I guess we're used to seeing them in like a 2.5 hour movie. So they're in an hour and 50 minutes of film. But in Infinity War, that's really got to be structured so that each of those are really limited within their screen times, because like you said, you've got like 40 different people who need basically top billing.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man's barely in the film.
Yep.
He's not really in the film. Same thing, Doctor Strange really isn't in the film.
I mean, he gets
much.
a little bit. I would say Doctor Strange is one of the more important characters,
he's one of the important characters, but he's also, there's not a lot of screen time given to him.
True.
A lot of it's mainly Iron Man and Thor, which is the first two. Well, no, I lied. Hulk it was Iron Man, then Hulk, then Thor, then Iron Man again. But basically the
primary ones that are
from the first films, and again, like these films all have kind of been just kind of like Iron Man. Everything's Tony Stark.
Yeah, I think, but I gotta say, going back to the whole splitting off, I was impressed by the way that they were able to handle that. Think about something like a season-long arc like Orange is the New Black, which we've been seeing lately. They don't handle having like 40 different characters very well. No. Even though that's an episodic nature, where having multiple characters in an episode, just focusing on those characters, should work better than a near 3-hour film. But instead, Infinity War does it so much better by being able to put people together who otherwise would never be together in a film. Like putting Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy together.
Thor and specifically Rocket Raccoon.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. It's him constantly calling him Rabbit's great.
you get that element of having like these characters paired together who otherwise you'd never see them together, and then that again falls on the writing for one thing, to make sure that the writing fits with the nature of those other films, which is difficult, but then also making sure that they pair well together. So you have that element like Rocket and Thor. You have Black Widow coming to the rescue of Scarlet Witch. You have the people of Wakanda and joining together.
Bucky being there.
And Bucky, yeah.
Because that's
having a very anachronistic weapon in Wakanda.
By the way, let me just say this. I find in any film where you just see like a guy sitting there going around with their like assault rifle just like shooting around in circles, it's not cool. It's so fucking lame now.
Like with Bucky, just with a machine. Yeah, because his superpower is like nothing with the machine gun. It's just like any old guy could be there.
He's like, I'm like Captain America with the super soldier serum. I just don't get a cool shield. Hell, even in this film, fucking Captain America's quote-unquote shield's bullshit. Like, it's not like, that's not Captain Shield. That's just some Wakandan bullshit.
It's like, somebody get him a shield. He needs a shield. Yeah, no, I think, Bucky is a little disappointing in this film. Like you said, because of the gun, it seems unnecessary. Like, what is that gun doing against the alien exoskeletons that are running rampant in this Wakandan civilization? It seems like anybody could just hold their ground with a machine gun. So, yeah, I do agree that was a little disappointing. Let's talk about, because we're already getting up to an hour, let's talk about the CGI a little bit, because I will say that this Marvel film has so much CGI.
But it's good.
However, and I would never generally say this because I really don't love CGI. I think that if you can get away with practical effects, do it. However, I think for one thing, it's important in this film. Infinity War requires CGI, and then the other thing is that they did a really good job.
It feels like Josh Brolin is Thanos.
It does. That looks like Josh Brolin, and it's like in the uncanny valley of being like, that looks like Josh Brolin, but it also looks like a squeezed grape. I'm not sure. And so they did a really good job with that. I think, too, part of the reason why Thanos is so empathetic is because they did a really good job with Josh Brolin's facial motion. Yeah.
Which that is motion captured.
Yeah, it's. I think it's really good. It's what should have happened. Again, going back to Batman v Superman, going back to Justice League, that shit looks bad. And put it next to Infinity War.
Well, they probably didn't have Industrial Light and Magic working for them.
True, and they didn't have the nearly record-breaking budget of
$300 million.
Yeah, Infinity War's budget either. But I do have to say that the CGI is really good.
Let's say, one of these days, one of these films is going to get up to like $1 billion.
I'm sure.
Fucking budget.
But I don't know. I think that the CGI is really good, and I'm not one to say that. I would argue that a lot of times CGI is unnecessary. In this film, it's not unnecessary. It is required, and it does look good.
Well, I'll say if you did you can't do a practical army of practical effect of 100,000 demon alien-like creatures that are Thanos' army charging into a force field of, because in that whole battle they probably had 30 people and they just kind of CGI copied them and put them in. So
the other thing too that's really important about this film from a CGI and atmospheric perspective is that it all looks consistent with what we've seen of the worlds in the other single films of the characters. Thinking back, this is fresh in your mind, but Black Panther, Wakanda looks exactly like Wakanda from Black Panther. Now, let's bring that again back to Justice League. We know from what James Wan has said that Aquaman is not going to look consistent with Justice League, because he said the water in that film looked like shit, which it did in Justice League. The CGI water looked like shit, and it's not going to be like that in Aquaman. So right there and then, you need to be consistent across your films to make it feel like a legitimate world, like a continuity base.
Universe building.
Exactly. And this film does it really well. It not only in the CGI, in the atmosphere, in the ships, all the ship settings, making sure that the writing fits. I think that they did a really great job aping all of the writing from each of the films to match with the character styles.
Not only that, too, for each film you've had different directors for, too.
Yep.
So it's basically been you kind of have to, the Guardians have had a different director from the Thor films, which have had a different director from, so... No, they keep the tone, pretty consistent, which is a hard thing to do when you have all these directors, though, they're for hire and stuff. They do have their own input on, how they want to treat their films, you know, so... And
it seems like they had input from everybody. This is sort of a collaboration, though it doesn't list everybody on the credits. Obviously, I would say that, if we said, Guardians of the Galaxy has really been a James Gunn creation.
They probably would have. They probably consulted.
I'm sure they didn't just say well, fuck what James Gunn says. We're doing it our way this time. It was a collaboration, and they asked for his input on does this seem like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing? That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Would he say this?
Right. Exactly. That's the way to do it. You don't just be we're gonna do it this way. Though it's been consistent for the last 2 films in Guardians of the Galaxy, we're gonna do it this way. It just makes sense, and it does feel like this was a labor of love from everybody involved. And everybody was really, really psyched about doing Infinity War. I'm glad that you mentioned tone, because I want to talk about tone of Infinity War. Because, for the most part, Marvel films are somewhat lighthearted. They definitely tend to have more humor in them than, dark elements. But Infinity War is a pretty dark movie. It's very downbeat.
It's very a film about genocide. You can't really make genocide a happy, happy-go-lucky topic.
I think they did a really good job of trying to even that out as much as possible. because there are elements of comedy to it. There are, the quips and the one-liners, even in some of the more serious moments. But at the same time, the entire film is very dark, as it should be. I mean, almost everybody knows that the destruction of most sentient life is on the horizon. It's not like a laughing matter. It's like, well, we always win. We'll do it this time too. There's definitely a possibility that they won't in this film. And as Doctor Strange brings up about probably like 2/3 of the way through, there's really only one way for them to ever win against Thanos.
He's seen 14 million, like some odd different futures, and there's only one timeline strain where they come out the victor.
So that's pretty desperate. Those are bad odds.
Well, instead of everyone the Avengers dicking around and not really, being like getting into little tiffs about shit, maybe somebody should have been paying attention to, what the hell's going on. Yeah. Instead of,
I like the darkness of it. I think that there definitely will be some people who are seriously affected by Infinity War. Not because, and we'll side table this for a second, but not because of people dying, like the heroes dying, but in the manner that they go. I think the most compelling moment is when Tony Stark realizes they fucked up, and Peter Parker is fading out of existence, and he runs up to Tony. He's like, I don't want to go, and he fades out of existence. That's a really dark, possibly the darkest moment of any Marvel film that's occurred so far. It's not just a death, but it is a very realistic depiction of a death in that someone's not ready to go. It's almost, it's almost too much for a Marvel film to go that dark.
And he's a child.
And I mean, he's what? 16 years old? That's pretty dark, and I read some comments online where, like, people brought their younger kids, because generally Marvel films are pretty age appropriate.
Well, I told you, like, if this was like 15 years ago, there's no way in hell this movie's a PG-13.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of kids were traumatized by Peter Parker fading out of existence.
Granted, it's not like they just exploded in, like it's not
Akira style explosions
or scanners, like no, they just turned into dust,
like leaves, basically. Yeah.
Which I do like how, whether it's intentional or not, I do like how when they, Thanos snaps his fingers once he's got all the Infinity Stones. Yes, spoiler alert, Thanos wins. That's how you get a second film, people. But, after he snaps his fingers and wipes out half of existence, that when it comes to the people who die, it's not just like most people, like most films would be like, all the heroes have plot armor. They all, they're fine. Nope. Black Panther, off your hot, successful film. Bye.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, after your finally successful reboot of Spider-Man, gone. Adios. I like how, it's Doctor Strange again. He doesn't get that much time, but he's very important to the actual story.
One who's seen the timeline.
I say one because he controls, is the guardian of the time stone, and two, as Sorcerer Supreme, he's the one who knows how to actually defeat Thanos. You're gone from existence,
Yeah. That's unfortunate for the Avengers. I mean, that fucking sucks. Randomness, and it happens to be Doctor Strange.
Well, imagine if it was also Thor, too. They'd be fucked, because the only reason, they kind of are able to go away licking their wounds a little bit after getting the shit kicked out of them is because Thor's the one who saved, otherwise they're fucked.
Yeah.
Because Scarlet Witch, you're useless, Dad. Vision, you're useless. Goodbye. But it's funny some of the ones, it's funny some of the ones that keep, like, War Machine, Don Cheadle, you're still around.
Yeah, you're okay.
Why? You're low rent Iron Man, you're... Nope, you're okay. Black Widow, you're just hot. You're just a hot Russian, you're still here. Captain America, you're still here,
Yeah.
Which, Captain's important, but I mean, like I said, I do like how, it does feel like it's random.
Yeah.
Nick Fury at the end credits. You're gone.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's... I think that with a superhero film, and with superheroes in general, not just in film, but in comics, you do have that element of people can cheat death. Like, superheroes can come back from the dead. No one that's dead stays dead. In superheroes in general, there's always rebooting. There's always the ability or some newfound power to bring back the dead.
Oh, that'd be kind of annoying, now that I think about it. If, like, at the end of Infinity War, instead of, like, continuing the story, they get the gauntlet and they just reset the timeline.
Right.
And it starts, like, a whole new timeline.
Yeah.
That would be annoying. Like, oh, we're going to reboot. And they're like, boop.
Like I said, like, there's always that ability to reset. And especially with these Marvel films coming out, we know Spider-Man's not gone. They're not going to get rid of Spider-Man.
Not getting rid
You
of
literally just had a successful movie. They're not getting rid of Black Panther. We know that a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is on the horizon. It's already being worked on. So Peter Quill's not gone. So you do know that contextually that some of these characters are safe. However, that doesn't lighten what actually happens in the film, especially if you were able to watch it singularly.
Let's say Groot dies too, as well, right?
Yeah, Groot fades away too. Yep.
I'm trying to think of all the people who end up.
Well, there's a lot, so that's
I know,
it's hard to...
it's a lot, but I'm trying to think like, also Black Panther. I can't remember her name, but his like warrior.
Oh yeah.
Like his two top generals, they both gone.
Yep. Yeah, so like you do know that some of them are coming back. However, some of them may not come back. And it is surprising that they did go this far with how many people are gone. Literally 50% of everybody from the Marvel universe is gone. And I think, if don't think about it too much. Don't think about contextually people are coming back. Just watch the film for what it is and forget for a second that you have all this pop culture reference and knowledge of like, well, this is coming out on the horizon. They've already greenlit this. I'm thinking about the budget and all the earnings from the box office for Black Panther. Try to forget about that and just watch it for what it is. And then also think about it, not contemporary, but like in the future. If you're watching just this film 20 years from now,
well, you'd be a fool. You'd be a fool for watching the 20th film in a series.
No, but I'm saying that you don't have that foreknowledge that there are more on the way. That you just watched it.
Well, you would know that if you watch it in the future.
You may or you may not. Like, you may not do the research of, like, what's coming after. That's what I would just say, like, we watch films contemporarily way different than we used to, for one thing.
Because of all the... we have so much more access to information about
exactly.
Film schedules.
We watch it completely different than we would have. So if you think about it without the context of that, this becomes a very dark story about loss and what the only story really where our heroes lose.
Well, as I say, it's as I compared it to, and I was telling you, though you haven't seen the film, this film is Empire Strikes Back.
Right, exactly.
At the end of the day,
yeah.
This is why I love Empire so much. Empire is so good, and also again, this is why I love Red Letter Media. They also pointed out that it feels like it's Empire. But they say Empire's bittersweet, which I'll disagree with. Because I think Empire is totally a downer. It's, at the end of the day, the Empire is beating the shit out of the rebels. Han's a table. Luke's lost his hand. He got his ass beat by Vader. He's no match. Things are looking bleak as all hell. What? Okay. This is like about genocide.
Yeah.
On a universal scale. Dealing with a now godlike being, and 50% of all of his existence has been wiped out. This is even bleaker. There's there's no bittersweetness. None of the quips at the end of the day of Chris Pratt. Like I'm talking like Thor.
Yeah, pretty much. It practically just ends.
Yeah,
like that's it. Like it's like, oh, everybody fades out of existence. Here's the credits.
Well, they show Thanos back on Titan.
Yeah.
And it's been reborn as a new world.
Yeah. And that's it. That's it. Fades to black. That's it. The end. No. And then, again, there's no Captain America PSA at the end of this film either.
That would have been great, though, at the end when Thanos is on, like, Titan now, it's reborn, and it's like on the 7th day he rested.
Yeah.
That you know what the end credits should have been? It should have been Jeff Goldblum on his planet. Whoa, wow, what's
going on? I think too. Something that's even bleaker for this film too is that like at the end, if you stay past after the credits, you have that little Nick Fury shield.
Which also, as I told you, like, what the fuck has S.H.I.E.L.D. been doing since, like...
Nothing.
Since, like, the first Avenger film or whatever.
They're too busy on ABC.
Well, it's what our friend Matt said. He's like, oh, they have their own TV show. I'm like, that doesn't count because it's not part of the continuity.
No,
so
it's not, but
it's like... Yeah, what the fuck has Samuel L. been up to, you know? Like, just dithering about and...
But I think, like, that showcase at the end of the film, too, really puts us in perspective of like the human element of this catastrophe, because then you see a helicopter crash into a building. No one really knows what the hell is going on. 50% of the human race just disappeared, and they don't really know what's going on.
No, they still with the funny route though at the end, because when Nick Fury's disappearing, you hear Samuel go and it just.
I think they needed the levity at that point. Yeah, I mean, I think that though showcases again like the bleakness of it. Even they needed the levity from the comedic element. They wanted to get Samuel's trademark cursing in there.
Motherfucker,
without actually having to do that for a PG-13 film. But I mean it's all pretty bleak. And then at the end credits, you don't have any sort of our heroes will return. You have Thanos will return. So I think all of that, it works really well. It's one of the only Marvel films we probably will get where the heroes do not succeed, where everybody made mistakes and then everybody paid for it.
Yeah, egos got in the way.
Yep. And I mean, although I think they're going to wrap this up quite nicely with a sequel, very cleanly,
4 hours long.
I don't think that takes away from the power of Infinity War itself. I think it still works really well. And I think all of those elements are here. You have good action scenes. This film does not feel like 2 hours and 40 minutes. It goes by very quickly. It does not drag like I thought Black Panther did.
No, it doesn't.
I literally, I did not look at my watch one time. One time I had to get up and pee. And I looked at my watch because I was like, how much more does this have? Can I make it? No, I could not make it. So I had to pee. But other than that, no, it flies by.
And I will say, I think some of the levity moments are kind of misplaced. But I do think the comedy is pretty, it is really good. I think it's really funny. I think, like I said, when Thor is, cracking his lines about Rocket Raccoon, it's good. When, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk's, doing a Paul Rudd impression, it's great.
Yeah.
And that is intentional, so not, the way he's acting, because I know, Bruce Banner's supposed to be the scared neurotic, like, wow, oh my god, so I do think the humor in it, I do like it, I appreciate it, I think it's well done. I think the action throughout is well done, and it moves at a very brisk pace. It's like constantly, and they never, again, another great thing about them splitting up all these characters into little different groups and having all these different little plots going on until they get to the finale. You never stick with somebody too long. You're not like, all right, I'm getting sick of the fucking Guardians now. Like, all right, I'm getting sick of, what Strange and Spider-Man and Iron Man are doing now, or what, Captain's up to. You're with them enough to where, you get what's going on, and then by the time you might feel like you're getting annoyed by being with them, they jump to somebody else.
Yeah. I think it's a really well-paced film altogether. They get the
monumental
most out of it.
task.
Yeah, very Herculean. It's very difficult, and I'm very impressed with how they were able to direct all of that. It's crazy. So I think that. Would you say that most people would enjoy this film, superhero fan or not?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I think if you've been following the Marvel franchise right now, this is probably what you've been waiting for.
This is the hot one. Yeah. I would say this is probably my favorite Marvel movie that I have seen.
To date, yes.
For sure. It's close. I really like Spider-Man Homecoming. I really like Spider-Man Homecoming. That was a really good movie, and before that was probably my top pick for Marvel movies. But I would say probably Infinity War now, Spider-Man Homecoming, then it's probably a toss-up between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Thor Ragnarok.
Now, I do, before I talk about that, I do want to talk about why I said earlier why I think Gamora's an idiot.
Okay.
Because this goes into, like, the whole, like, we were talking about Thanos being a complex character. You know, because he takes in Gamora when he's destroying her world because she has the same fiery will that he does to do what needs to be done.
Right.
And so she becomes his adopted daughter. And, you know, she's with him for 20 years, but she hates and despises him for, you know, what he did to her world and her parents and all that. But at the same time, the way he speaks to her and the way he talks to her and, like, thinks about her throughout the entire film, you know he really does actually love her. Like, it's not like, I'm just doing it as a facade type thing.
Right.
Because, you know, Thanos is a bastard of a character, but he's not a liar. And he doesn't try to deceive, because when she lies to him, he even tells her, like, you know, I've taught you many things in life, lying is not one of them. You know, so when they go to the planet where the Soul Stone is, and, you know, Red Skull's the collector sitting there, like, telling what needs to be done, like, to get the stone, you must throw a sacrifice, you must, you know, give somebody you love off the cliff, and she's like, you can't do it, because the only thing you love is yourself, and he's sitting there actually crying, you know, tears,
right,
and it takes, like, to the, like, you know, Red Skull to be like, he ain't crying for himself, he's crying for you. You know, that, like, whole, like, it's supposed to be, like, emotional, you know, but at the same time, I think emotional in the sense, you know, you're supposed to feel for Thanos and her, because he's willing to, you know, do these things to get what he, you know, his lifelong goal is to accomplish, you know, getting all the Infinity Stones so he can correct the universe in the way he sees fit. But still, like, just the way she's acting, like, it's kind of like, why the fuck did he think he needed to bring you along?
Right.
If he knew where the stone was all along after you told him, you know, why the hell do you think he dragged your ass along?
Yeah. I mean, I like Gamora. I think that...
I mean, I haven't seen the Guardians film, so I don't really know. Like,
I think that maybe just in this film it comes off that she made a bad decision.
Well, it comes off as just tacky and like you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Same thing with Chris Pratt when they're about to beat Thanos. They're about to rip the gauntlet off, and all, you know... They have, what's the one with the man? Is it Mantis?
Yeah, the empath. Yeah, she's an empath.
Yeah, like, and she gets, you know, Thanos, you know, while, you know, they're hopping on, they're trying to rip the gauntlet off, and she's on him, like, straddling him, to, you know, reading his mind to subdue him, and, she gets him to tell, Chris Pratt's character that, you know, he killed Gamora, and he's crying, which again, that adds layers to Thanos. That makes him a sympathy, like he hates what he did, you know, and he's he doesn't like that he did it, but he did it because he's trying to accomplish his ultimate goal. Like, he knew sacrifices need to be made. But so the counterpoint to that is then Chris Pratt being a dumbass, like, we're about to beat Thanos, and I'm gonna, you know, smack him from his little, you know, slumber right now. And so he can come back and kick all our asses and win.
Right.
Instead of just waiting the 3 seconds for Spider-Man and Iron Man to rip that gauntlet off and, you know, be like, now we have the Infinity Stones. Ha! Now you're, you know, powerless and fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was all necessary.
That just comes off. That's like the one point about this film I'm down on, because it just comes off as contrived. Like, they had to shoehorn in a way to get the, you know, for them to come close but fail.
Yeah.
And that's just like, to me, it's like a lazy way of doing it. Like, have somebody, like, in the heat of the moment when it's like, obviously in the heat of, like, you're gonna kill him either way if you get the gauntlet off. Just let you know, wait 3 seconds for the gauntlet to get off. I guess
it's just a human emotion getting the best of him. I don't know.
No, he's an idiot. And I hope in the next film he not, you know, gets killed off.
Maybe you need to watch Guardians just to see the context behind it.
Oh, stop.
All right.
The man was sitting around singing Rubber Band Man in this movie.
Should we give Infinity War a rating?
Sure.
All right. So on a scale of 0 to 10.
Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones. I think that's the only one we can do. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the only one, but it's the obvious one.
It's the one.
We don't usually go for the obvious one, but we'll go for the obvious one on this one.
Might as well. What would you give Infinity War?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I like it. I like it a lot. And actually, you made a really good point. This has renewed my interest in superhero films.
Yeah, for sure.
Mainly Marvel films, not DC. I'm not looking. I can't wait for the Aquaman film and the Cyborg film.
Yeah.
But no, for the because we've talked about several times as we've done these superhero films, we are getting franchise fatigued and genre fatigued. Like, oh my god, like another fucking film. But this one's like, wow, it came in the right moment. Even though, like, Black Panther, a good film, but kind of one of the weaker ones, at least for us in the Marvel timeline. Ragnarok was good, but it's still, like, kind of like, getting, kind of sick of these. I think kind of like with Spider-Man Homecoming, this is the one, it's like, yes, kind of like a piques your interest a little bit. And it makes me do want to see, like, Ant-Man Wasp and kind of be like, well, where the fuck have you been, Paul Rudd?
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
and kind of see what the universe is like now that it's been half wiped out and what the hell's basically going on. And it also makes me want to see the Captain Marvel movie, which is now hinted at because at the end of the end credits, Nick Fury's, as he's dying, is signals for Captain Marvel, which I did have to look that up because I didn't know what that logo was. So.
Nope. It really did renew my interest in the Marvel films. Maybe not DC so much, but definitely Marvel series. I think they did a really good job finishing off this phase and then really setting up a whole new phase that they can possibly pursue for quite a while. Obviously, we know that some of those films are going to take place. They probably have to take place post Infinity War, but there's still that element.
I don't think there has been a film maybe there has, because sometimes the timeline is kind of a little goofy, but I don't think there has been a film where they kind of like, oh, this one's set during this time at the same time as this film. I think it's all
they haven't really. No,
I think it's all like a continuous...
Ones that I think they could get away with without setting post Infinity War is like another Spider-Man. That one doesn't really have to be post Infinity War. I would say like Black Panther sequel probably has to be post Infinity War. It seems like they come very close together. Thor has to be. If they do another Thor, it has to be. Iron Man, most likely, unless they go before like one of the events of the other sequels.
I mean, I figure what they'll do with Iron Man is this definitely seems like Robert Downey's not.
I think this is it. I legitimately thought this was going to be the end of him in this film.
Well, I didn't, because I think the second one's that will be his swan song. Like
that will be his sacrifice. He realizes like he didn't make the right decisions for his team,
and he'll have to sacrifice. And then, but they'll basically probably they'll keep the Iron Man franchise by just have someone else take the mantle of Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. I think that Robert Downey's probably jumping ship,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
he's older. He's one that started it all. He's been doing it for 10 years, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think he may jump ship, but yeah, I think that's probably how it's going to go.
I almost feel like, too, a couple others I could see, I could see Chris Evans being like, I'm done with Captain.
I could see it.
I don't know about Chris Hemsworth with Thor. I think he likes it too
I think
much,
he likes it. I think Chris Evans, though, just seeing how little he actually got with.
But not only that, he looked tired in this film.
Yeah.
I'm granted, he had great, nice coiffed hair and a nice mustache and beard combo, but I mean, I can almost see them probably picking a new Captain America too, because he also looks like even though he's not old, but he just kind of looks like
he's just done with it.
Yeah, I would like to move on.
Yeah.
I would hate this. I know they're not going to kill Black Panther off, but I mean, wouldn't that be terrible? Like Chadwick, good job, Chadwick. You've done an amazing job.
You're done now.
and we're done. Same thing with Benedict Cumberbatch. She'd be like, you did a great job as Dr. Stephen Strange, and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Which I will say, even though we liked Doctor,
I could honestly see them getting rid of Doctor Strange though, as a franchise. They're just like, we're not going to move forward with a sequel because it's not really one of the more popular characters in general.
I love after this one though. I love him.
Yeah, but I'm just.
Saying, the first film, I liked Doctor Strange, but at the same time, it's kind of like a generic, origin story film. It's good, but it's not that great. But I mean, and here it's like he's great as Stephen Strange, and I mean, I would say anything than just if they didn't want to do that, then he'd have to be like an integral part in every other Marvel film. We need the Sorcerer Supreme.
Call him in.
Yeah, like be like an advisor or something, or when they need
see that
when they're dealing with something mystical.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I agree. Like, if they decide they don't want to make more Doctor Strange films, I'd be fine with that. But just, like, kind of bring them along when it's like, all right, we have this new threat along, and they're more, like, like if Mephisto shows up in, like, a Spider-Man film.
Yep.
Or whatever. Like, you bring in Doctor Strange, to be part of the film to deal with it, because that's, you're dealing with the devil. So.
Yeah. Well, I would give Infinity War a 9. Like I said, it was probably my favorite Marvel movie so far. I really liked pretty much everything about it. Thought it flew by. Thought it was funny in parts. It also had its bleak moments, which I do love about superhero films. I don't need them to always be uplifting, despite what people, all of the complaints that people lodge against the new DC franchise. I don't think that the problem is that it's too dark. There are many other problems that you can pin on that one. But I do like the bleak storyline. I think Thanos is a character really well done. And even better, the CGI that they did for it, making sure that Josh Brolin looks like Josh Brolin, but also looks beefy as all hell as Thanos. I think they did a great job, bringing that to fruition.
His voice is very similar to Ron Perlman.
It is very similar to Ron Perlman. Sometimes his face is very similar
to Ron
Perlman.
It's almost like sometimes like, is that Ron Perlman?
It could have been, if replace the purple with the red and it's Hellboy, Ron Perlman.
Just a bit, yeah, and put horns on it.
Yeah. So,
well, if God forbid, if Ron Perlman leaves us too soon, then, in the next Fallout game, they're going to call Josh Brolin up to be War. War never changes.
Yeah, I know. They do have very similar voices, but yeah. But I had a lot of fun with this one. Definitely need to get out and see it. I don't say that about all of the superhero movies, but this one is one that you really need to get out and see. But if you've gotten this far, you shouldn't have been listening. What the fuck are you doing?
I was going to say, is this your favorite superhero film of all time now?
No. Well,
you gave it a 9 out of 10, so it's like, what's better?
Yes and no, because I really love The Dark Knight. But I generally don't consider that film like a superhero film in the same sense that these are. So I'm gonna have to split. I'm gonna have to split hairs and say that I guess it is my favorite superhero film because I don't consider The Dark Knight a superhero film.
You just consider Christian Bale to be crazy, crazy rich man.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I don't really consider that one a superhero film per se. So yes, I guess I would say that. Yeah.
Cop out.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's about it. This is a very solid recommend. Go watch it. If you've been seeing any of the other Marvel films or have any interest, I would say go see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh God, don't bring your children though. You'll scar them for life.
Yeah, I mean that seems like very sad. Sad to show your children that. I think people were a little upset after the end of it when Spider-Man faded away out of existence. How do you explain that?
Well, imagine if you're a kid, you're like, yep, Spider-Man's dead already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, especially because they probably did go see Spider-Man: Homecoming.
At least ScarJo was safe.
That's true.
But like I said, the biggest concern is what happened to Aunt May.
True.
What happened?
We'll find out next time.
You know what? I will create a Twitter account and I'll post on Marissa Tomei's account. Like, where is Aunt May safe? Are you safe?
They should have.
Do you need assistance?
They should have put at like a post credits. Aunt May will return. Because then you would have felt better.
Like you just see her at home. Like, where's Peter at?
Yeah, I'm not really concerned. You're not really concerned about anybody else that died, but Aunt May, definitely concerning. All right,
priorities, man.
What's our next episode?
2 weeks.
Well, that's when, but what? I have no idea.
No?
Some sort of horror giallo, creamy something.
When does the new Suspiria come out?
Not for a long time. I think it's like June or July or something.
Oh, that's not that long.
Yeah, or October. I may be completely wrong. I really don't know. But whenever it comes out, we'll be covering it. But
so you want to do the old Suspiria? Go back to Argento.
Oh, that is right. You have never seen Suspiria.
Nope.
Yeah, we could do that. I just watched it not too long ago, so I'm pretty well versed in it. So yeah, we can do that.
We've already done 3 Argento films, or it's just 2?
We did Phenomena. We've done Tenebrae. I think that's it.
So this will be our 3rd.
Yeah, I think we've done 2.
His most famous film.
All right. Yeah, we could do Suspiria. I'm fine with that. and we'll see what you think.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with Suspiria. And thank you for listening to this episode. We hope that you will return. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/bloodandblackrumpodcast. We have an email address at bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Podbean, Stitcher, and pretty much any other podcasting app that you can use, especially on iTunes. Please subscribe to us and leave us a nice review. We're on Twitter at twitter.com/bloodandblackrumpodcast, or blood and blackrum, I'm sorry, or at blood and blackrum. And you can join us on Podbean for our Patreon account, where if you donate at least $1, you get all of our episodes early, except for this one, because everyone's getting this one early. So, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Special episode.
That's right. All right. Thank you for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I always do that. And stay tuned.
I think that's a sign we should go back to weekly.
I try, and, right now, I probably could do it, because I don't have bowling on Thursday nights anymore, so I have another free night. But it's tough in the winter when I don't have another free night. But it's possible. We'll see. So thanks for listening, and catch us next week or next time. Next time for next episode for next time. Who knows what time it will be?
Yeah. Take care.